Hello folks and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be weighing in on a topic that has been discussed, shall we say discussed, often, with much disgust as it turns out, in the WoW community, the new changes Blizzard has announced to the looting system. That being that they're going to be getting rid of master loot and all looting will then be personal loot, which most looting already is. It's just they're basically removing the ability for guilds to dole out loot from a loot council, from a master looter, and many people, basically everyone who talks about Warcraft related topics, has already covered this. So why am I so late to the party? Well, first one being, when this news was released, I wasn't making videos at the time, so I am now. And two, because I think my perspective on it is different enough from everyone else's to warrant inclusion. If any of you are interested, this is some green tea with mint leaves I put in there. I've got two really overgrown mint plants, so it's a good use of them. So I am not a hardcore raider. I never have been. The last time I really raided was in Wrath of the Lich King, when I was much younger and ran a guild with some friends from high school. We actually cleared up to Sindragosa, but we didn't really understand the concept of frost resistance. I was the main tank paladin at the time. Basically the first and last raid tier I ever really participated in, mostly because frankly I've just never had the time to raid. I've always been trying not to fail in school and just, you know, getting the good grades and all of that, but that's a bit lame. So I'm hoping to do some raiding when Battle for Azeroth gets released, and certainly I want to get involved in some raiding when the Classic server is released, because let's be honest, Classic raiding, it doesn't have quite the same demands as maybe Mythic retail raiding does. So my perspective on all of this comes from the stance of really not being bothered by the changes to master loot. I am not going to be someone that cares if a loot council selects me for loot or not. I've not had a piece of raid tier ever, basically, when it's current. I might have done some transmog runs, but generally that's about it. I enjoy the game for very different reasons. And so it doesn't really bother me that I won't be able to give loot to the right members of the guild to help with raid progression and all of that. No, it's more, I appreciate in the original versions of the game the fact that your group of friends and you, whether you're in a dungeon, which is where I'm more used to playing, or in a raid environment, you take down the big boss that you all worked for ages to kill, and maybe in the old days there's 40 of you working together, and you beat the boss, and what do you get from it? You get a piece of paladin loot, and all of you horde guys, you know, look at each other thinking, well, that's a bit disappointing, isn't it? But at the same time, that's your loot. You earned it, and there's no magical reroll button. You're not going to be trading it amongst each other. No. The guild leader or whoever his representative will be is going to kneel down in front of that corpse and decide which one of you gets it. And maybe there's going to be some dirty favoritism there, maybe not. Maybe you'll have lost DKP because you didn't put the dots on Anixia's whelplings quickly enough, or whatever it might be. But my problem with it's actually kind of different. That people are generally bothered by this because they think, well, personal loot's a good thing, right? I don't really mind personal loot. It's okay, it makes sense. But getting rid of any option other than personal loot, that's the real problem. Whereas I think personal loot is the problem, because like I say, my background is not in raiding. I basically like leveling characters and you know, listening to podcasts on the other screen whilst I wind down from college or work or whatever it might be. So I've never really had the time commitment to be able to, you know, commit to a raiding schedule with a guild. So the most I've ever really done is LFR, and I did a bit of Highmore last expansion, but genuinely that's about it. So playing Legion right now, I've gone back to it after a small stint on some private servers, and I've been leveling and playing an Orc Fury Warrior. I'm really enjoying the combat, it's been great. I haven't quite enjoyed the time gating mechanics that have been involved with all of the class order hall things and all of that, and I don't like that I can't equip a second legendary for now, I don't know how many days it will be, but I have to research all sorts of class order hall upgrades, which I'm sure you're all very well aware of, and that mechanism has been done for me, I think, on 3 characters already now, so that's annoying. But the real strange thing is then I go and do the LFR raid on August to get the instant legendary, And in doing that, I realized that when they kill the boss, you get your loot, whatever it might be, and probably nothing, to be honest. You probably just get some artifact power, which, oh gee, thanks, that's really, oh, great, more of that stuff that I have to keep clicking. But should you have bought a Seal of Fate, or Twisted Seal of Fate, or whatever they call them now, and basically just get rid of some of your gold or order resources to stop you stockpiling so much, if you buy one of those, you get an extra spin on the slot machine wheel, which is genuinely what it looks like. It's not just my experience of it. They look like slot machines. You click the button to use your token, and it spins round, and you see, oh, I saw a loot icon. Oh, there it goes, and oh, I see a gold icon, and it goes, and then suddenly you get another piece of artifact power, 9 times out of 10, and it's very, very displeasing. It's not fulfilling content. You kill the boss, and you think, oh shit, well, it didn't drop for me, but hopefully it dropped for someone else. But then you get your hopes up again, and you're playing this Candy Crush kind of mobile game thing where instead of actually killing a boss and being rewarded as such, you kill a boss and then suddenly you're in a Vegas casino and they're asking you, do you want to roll again? You throw the dice, you might get lucky this time. That is not what I come to World of Warcraft for. That is not what an MMO should be. A game like Witcher 3 doesn't have any of that bullshit. If Geralt kills a monster, he gets to wear its head on the side of his horse, which is pretty damn cool, if you ask me. If I kill a monster, I'm probably going to get an annoying thing that takes up space in my bags that I have to click on all the time, or maybe a meaningless amount of gold, or an upgrade, but rarely, to be honest, have I had many upgrades. And another darker, potentially, aspect of the whole personal loot thing is the existence of WoW tokens, which, if any of you that don't play retail are unfamiliar with, basically if you have enough gold, you can buy game time with it. You can buy a month's worth of game time for about, I think it's a billion gold at this point. The inflation is really quite crazy with them. But if you then use those, if you buy a token from the store, which is like 30 quid or something, you can sell them on the auction house, or the token house, for gold. And you can use gold to buy those Twisted Seals of Fate, or whatever the hell they call them. Therefore, with real money, you can buy additional spins on the wheel for a boss fight. So, can someone please tell me why that isn't a loot box? Genuinely. Like, bosses in Warcraft now are actually, legitimately loot boxes, which Belgium has recently criminalised. So I guess any Belgians, sorry, you're shit out of luck if the Belgian Gambling Federation, or whatever, if they find out that Warcraft is now gambling, now loot boxing all its bosses, well, I hope you enjoyed your time with the game. See you in Classic, I guess. But does that not cheapen the experience for everyone? A Mythic Raider, he downs Argus, it's world first, and then suddenly you get to spend real life money for poker chips to roll on an extra chance to get an upgrade. It cheapens the whole thing. Blizzard, I get it. It's a good way of making money. And humans, genuinely, we could go into the studies. I did some of that for my degree, looking at hormone releases when you get a reward, as opposed to when you think you might get a reward, all of these things. And basically, the reason that your Facebook feed is not very entertaining is because if you've always got something on your Facebook feed that's interesting, you actually are less motivated to look at it. They have to put the interesting things in and among shit stuff that's not interesting. So occasionally you think, oh, that's interesting, and your brain will know that, and it'll get you going back to it and going back to it again and again and again. So it's, well, I forget what the term is. It's something like, basically it's an irregular reward. You're not sure if you're going to get the reward or not, so it builds addictive, kind of compulsive behavior. And the original versions of World of Warcraft were addictive enough without this, and so I understand why they put it in the game. It clearly works. It is a useful thing for them to include, because it will probably increase the amount that people are playing, and therefore increase the amount that they'll sell. But at what cost? At what cost? Because now, when I play the game like this, I don't feel like I'm participating in the World of Warcraft. I barely even feel like I'm playing the game of Warcraft. It's like I'm playing the mobile game of Warcraft. I'm just trying to... I'm playing Farmville, or some equivalent of that, with loot boxes. And it's really, really, not satisfying. So this has been a bit of a rambly video, and again, talking off the top of my head, but I think everyone's been missing the point with the loot box changes. No, not the loot box changes. The personal loot changes, but it is the same thing. Yeah, it's great if guilds have the opportunity to dole out loot to the people that, you know, deserve it, the people that have turned up for all the progress raids. That is totally fine. I would never deserve that loot. Hopefully, now that I finish my degree, I can actually do a bit of raiding, because from the very, very small amount that I've experienced of it, it's been my fondest memories of WoW. So, but I don't actually have any friends that play this game, and I don't have, this is not a multiplayer game for me. I basically am playing solo, which is why I'm not really enjoying it. So if any of you want to play with me, I play an Argent Dawn EU. Hit me up in the comment section. So in conclusion, people are missing the point. Asmongold is completely right. Everyone who's talked about this is completely right when they say that you shouldn't remove the ability to use master loot in guilds. That's just so anti-community. It's against what the game's all about. It kills socializing between people. And plus, if you do get something on the slot machine that someone wants, they'll be messaging for you, you'll be getting all sorts of people begging you to give them the item that you won. And then maybe it's only a slight upgrade for you, but Jimmy over there will get a big upgrade, so maybe you feel forced to give him your loot. That seems like a recipe for great social interaction if you ask me. But despite all of that, the problem is, the thing that they're getting rid of Master Looter for is one of the things that's killing WoW. I know that's hyperbolic of me to say, but I don't think it's untrue. Is the World of Warcraft that you fell in love with a glorified loot box machine? Is it something you're going to pull the lever and hopefully get a row of 7s? Is that really what you wanted to play WoW for? I don't think so. I don't think if the Lich King had a slot machine attached to him, he would have been any more fulfilling. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, that was just a bit of a rant that I had to get off my chest. I wasn't really sure exactly how I felt about it before setting the camera up, so I'm gonna go outside. It's still pretty light outside. I'm gonna go and do a bit of slacklining, which, if you don't know what it is, maybe Google it. I'll probably put an overlay video of what it looks like here. It's very good fun, and I might do some videos, you know, teaching people how it works, because it's really good exercise, and as gamers we probably should exercise as well. It's not all about staying in a computer chair, no matter how comfy those DX Racer chairs might be. So if you like this kind of content, please do subscribe, please like, all of that nonsense. Hit the bell, I've been told is a useful thing to say, because the thing is, when you subscribe to a channel on YouTube, they don't actually send you the videos. They think, oh well, I guess he likes the channel a little bit, but no, if you hit the bell, you should probably, most of the time, maybe 80% of the time, get a notification. So do that, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and also, those of you who are interested in video game music, I've got playlists about that. I'm probably going to be getting back into doing that soon, TM. But I've got my final recital for my degree in a couple of weeks, so that's the priority. I need to learn all of my stuff. Basically, I've got to learn a bunch of German and Norwegian and Italian, so yeah, it takes a bit of time, and just it takes a bit of mental space. But I've got some interesting content planned for Nagrand's music. Spoiler alert, some of it's based off Mozart's The Magic Flute, so if any of you can find it, if you post in the comments below, you get brownie points if you can tell me what I'm going to say, because it was pretty interesting. There's a direct quotation from one of the arias inside the music for Nagrand, but I've also got a couple more on the books as well. So yeah, have a nice time everyone, I'll see you in game hopefully, and I'll see you in the comment section down below. Bye bye.